What does it really mean to fight for peace when children are being forced into war? Hey, amazing people, welcome to today's interview. As part of our Passion Project, we're a group of passionate students working to raise awareness about child soldiers in armed conflicts and see how this issue impacts mental health, poverty, and peace around the world. Let's introduce ourselves first. I'm Lakshya, the team captain, who's deeply passionate about research, creating real world change through global understanding.
I'm Zainab, the Vice Captain. I'm passionate about highlighting humanitarian struggles and advocating for children affected by conflict.
And I'm Aditi. I focus on how conflict impacts children mentally and emotionally. And I believe in awareness is the step to making a difference.
So, today we have a very special guest with us, Syed Azmaan Ali Madni. Syed is a TEDx speaker, youth change maker, and founder of Grow Cool, and he's an undergrad from MSRIT. How cool is that? His work has inspired students of young minds across India and beyond, and we're incredibly excited to have him with us today.
Thank you so much for joining us, Sayed. We are truly honored to have you share your words and wisdom with us and the school community.
Hi, Lakshya, Zainab and Aditi. Thank you for having me, and I'm really glad to be here today.
So, Syed, please tell me, in your view, how can storytelling, art, or even social media help raise awareness about child soldiers, mental health? How does it affect them? And you have a personal story you should share with us today.
I believe storytelling touches the heart before it touches the mind, right? I still remember when I was, 17-year-old, I gave my very first TEDx speech. My brother told me something that stuck with me. He said, Azmaan, your speech and its authenticity matters, but no doubt, storytelling is the diamond that can make you the star of the day. And I have lived by then. Storytelling works because you tell a story, people start to see themselves in it. The same goes for an art, whether it's drawing, music, or poetry. It's a universal language. Art can express things that words sometimes can't. And then, of course, there's social media, world's biggest amplifier. I just want to give one example. Recently, a young Palestinian boy, Abdul, who did a rap music, and that includes the struggles and pain he and others face every day in a war-torn environment. His video went viral not because he was famous, but because people felt him. They related to his music, they related to his pain and hope. Even though he wasn't a child soldier, his story shows how art, storytelling, and social media can break barriers. So, when we use these tools to tell the child soldiers through spoken words, powerful images, or digital campaigns, we don't just raise awareness, we awaken empathy. And once people care, they speak, they act, and that's how change starts.
Great answer, Sayed. Now could you please tell me if you could send a personal message to a child who was forced to fight in a war, what would you want them to know or hear?
I want them to know you are not a war. I want them to know you are still a child, you are worthy of love, dreams, and a future filled with your happiness. I want them to know that somewhere in the world, even strangers like me, you all care deeply about them. We are praying for them no matter how small our actions, but we are helping them to see light again. In fact, I believe, and I say this with all my heart, a child who has gone through trauma, war, and conflict at such a young age has already learned lessons that most of us only learn when we become adults. They have seen pain, they have seen loss, and they have, survived. And someone who's already survived the worst, that is the person who is undefeatable. Because they have nothing to lose and everything to live for. Look at Emmanuel Jewel, a real soldier, a child soldier from South Sudan. He was forced to fight in a brutal civil war as a child. He lost his family, his home, his innocence. But after escaping, Emmanuel didn't give up. He turned his pain into purpose. And there's a beautifully said by him, I didn't pick up a gun to kill, I picked it up to survive, and now I've laid it down to heal. Today, he runs schools, speaks at global stages, and he's an artist because he knew his past didn't have to define his future. So if I could speak to someone like that, I must say you are not broken, you are becoming.
Thank you, Syed. That was truly special. Now, the last question. What actions can ordinary people, especially students, teachers, and family, take to support peace and help protect children from being equated into armed conflicts?
Once an ordinary student in Pakistan who stood up for girls' education. She started by writing her story on a small blog. Her words reached the world, and today she's a global symbol of peace and education. You all know, I know, none other than Malala Yousafzai. She shows the power of simply speaking up. We think that only world leaders or big organizations can change things, but the truth is, ordinary people make the loudest echoes when they act consistently. Every month, school can spotlight the story of a child from a war zone through assembly or blogs. They can create comics or animations, a wall in every school that displays student-made art, poetry, or messages. I remember when I was 9 years old when my father took me to an orphanage, and I realized that there was nothing different between them and me. They love doing things which I do, with the exception that their circumstances and their mindsets are different from my perspective. Even without luxuries, they had a kind of happiness I couldn't understand at that point of time. But there's, always a kind of comfort, love of life I have in myself, but still wanted something more to make myself happy. Observe the difference. And I'm sure it's the majority story of all of us today. That day I learned peace is not comfort, it's about compassion. And with no doubt, teachers and families are the real shapers in a young age. And after all, children mirror the mindset of their homes. Every small thing counts, whether it's a convo in dining table, whether it's a small teachings of a teacher about global issues from children's perspective, and taking other initiatives. So yeah, peace doesn't begin at the United Nations, but yeah, it did. But it begins in the classroom. It begins at the dining table. It begins when a 13-year-old writes a diary entry or a letter to a child they have never met, but just to say, I see you, you matter.
Thank you so much, Syed, for your thoughtful response and for sharing your unique perspective with us.
Your words will stay with us and they will make a real impact on our project and everyone who sees this.
Exactly, Advati, you have a great point. We're so grateful for your time, support, and voice, Syed. The Planet Peace Project is something that we truly respect and think could make a big difference in life, or at least raise awareness to those who don't have any knowledge on this. Together, we hope to create a world which is more peaceful, more informed, and more aware that child soldier isn't a proud thing, and every child deserves a world full of happiness and joy. Especially for the children who deserve safety, healing, and hope. And before I conclude, I'll be sharing a Padlet link in the description. So everybody who's watching this, feel free to fill this so every child of UNICEF reads it and feels proud, happy, and safe. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Make sure to share this video with everyone and help us raise awareness.
Peace out.